All right. Great day, everybody. Welcome back to another incredible episode of the Gale Show. Jim and I were on earlier today with an incredible guest, Dr. Kevin G. And now we have the fortune of being here again. Another grateful day. We got a new guest on, Jaymie Friesen from Living the Off-Grid Dream. Jaymie, welcome to the show, man. And as a fellow Canadian, it's great to see more people doing what you're doing, along with what Food Forest Abundance and the Freedom Farm Academy is up to. So welcome to the show.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, to get this all kicked off, why don't you start by just telling everybody a little bit about yourself and what you guys are up to, and we'll dive in.
Yeah, for sure. So, a little bit about me. Grew up in the construction industry, had a big stint of, owning some of my own businesses and stuff, and then had some cash flow issues during COVID and lost my livelihood, and was forced to sell all the assets and bankrupt the company and all of that. So my brother passed his business on too at the same time, and we kind of just sat there like, okay, what do we do? What do we do next? And we're like, okay, well, we've always wanted to get some land and just kind of live an easier life and get away from any of the corporate stuff and all of that, and like raise our families in a good way. We've been into permaculture and all that for a long time. So we figured it's time. So we just went. We didn't have any money. We were in debt. We had just, I just bankrupted my previous business and stuff. So we just kind of used all the skills that we had culminated over the years and found a way to get creative and raise funds. We bought 160 acres in Rock Creek, BC, and then built kind of a combination of homestead, retreat center, permaculture farm in the making, and intentional community.
Man, that sounds right up our alley, man. I love it. So BC, what a beautiful spot. I haven't been there, but everybody who has, and all the pictures I've seen, it's one of the most gorgeous places in the world, looks like.
Yeah, it's pretty, I don't know. I've traveled a fair bit. I've had the opportunity to do so, but every time I'm back here, I'm always happy to call this space home.
Oh, that's awesome. So it sounds like you had quite a whirlwind. You did some really good stuff in business, and then the governmente, right? We like to make a point. It wasn't COVID that shut down the businesses. It was the governmente that shut down the businesses. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole COVID stuff and everything was a giant scam, to be blunt. So yeah, I mean, we kept our doors open during that time, and we made sure that as much as we could publicly voice it, that we welcomed people regardless of whatever medical decisions they were going through, and all of that, and tried our best to support local businesses and stuff through all that as well.
Yeah, no, good for you. My business was shut down because of government as well, and that spurred me on to the next phase of life, which is resulting in epic stuff. So I'm so excited to hear about your strategy for development. I'm a developer. I've developed for about 16, 17 years. And I've taken a lot of lumps going through economic downturns and government extortion and things like that. And now we're still developing, but in a much different way. But I'd love to learn from you because it sounds like you're experiencing great success in your strategy.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, we go over several strategies, but do you mean as far as just like the kind of land acquisition side of things?
Let's go over your model, and what you want the people, our audience, to know about what you're doing, what your vision is for your developments.
Beautiful. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the first way that we looked at this is, we looked around, we saw a lot of people doing it, but not a lot of people were making it like financially viable at the same time. So we kind of came in from a background in business and figured out, okay, like, how do we make this financially viable in the easiest way? So and starting with no money, how do we start with very limited capital and focus that capital in just the right areas to be able to make this happen and create value for everybody involved? So generally, how we actually got into the land is we saw deals like this happening in the residential real estate market, where people were essentially going in, and person one, like myself, would go to person two and say, hey, person two, how about you put 15% down on the property, you do the down payment, and you co-sign for the mortgage, but you'll get 50% ownership. But we'll take, in person one, I'll take 50% ownership just for managing that property. And normally in residential terms, that's usually, putting in a long-term rental or renter in it, or sometimes doing Airbnb and like short-term rentals with that. So we kind of took that model, but we adopted that over to like rural land. And it works out, the numbers work out a lot and much more favorably in rural land, because there's so much more that you can do with rural land from two perspectives. One, people who are flipping residential homes are usually stoked to get like a 30 to 50% increase on, whatever they purchase that home for. And that's because they're going from what I would call like an 8 to a 10. Like the land's there, the house is already there, right? The infrastructure is built. So they're just making it nicer and then selling it. Whereas with the off-grid stuff, we're taking something that's relatively barren and has a ton of potential, and we're going from a 0 to a 10. So we have 10 points of value that we're creating instead of just 2 in the residential market, right? So the equity increase is massive, and we saw that quite a bit. Like we bought our lot for $215,000 for 150 acres, and it is now worth around $1 million. So that's about a 500% increase, or a 5x increase.
Oh, and this is right up my alley. And what did you do to go from the 500% increase from 215 to $1 million? Or whatever it was.
Most of that was just infrastructure. So, I mean, I want to be clear that when we work with people, it's not just like one size fits all. It's like, how can we tailor this to somebody's specific vision? Maybe somebody has a family with young kids and they don't want to just go off grid and barren lots. We still work with lots of people who are on grid and who are buying land that's turnkey with homes and stuff already on it. But for us, we just ended up going for something barren. We wanted to start bare so we could build it all ourselves and everything. So yeah, for that was, we got 2 wells on the property. So yeah, drilling those is always a huge value increase. Just building general infrastructure. So having power and internet, we have a communal area, we have a commercial kitchen, we have a teepee, we have 5 wall tents on big, beautiful platforms, and a hydrotherapy spa. So we have 2 saunas, the fire pit, the cold plunge tubs, the outdoor showers, and all of that is operational and brings in around $30,000 a month in the on season. So the income generation plays, fairly large into the property valuation as well.
Love it.
So yeah, lots of stuff. We got a lot more plans on top of that, but yeah, that's pretty much kind of where we're at.
And how much money did it take you to put in to go from the 215 to $1 million? Is it a few $100,000 or?
Yeah, pretty much exactly that. About 350,000. And not all of that was invested directly into the property, but as much as possible was. So we strategically wanted to invest when we were bringing on, financial backers to, like, because we didn't have the 350. So somebody basically came in and gave us the 350 in exchange for 30% ownership of the property. And then we kept buyback rights, and then we invested that strategically so that it would increase the property value. So for example, we did not go waste that on trying to market retreats or produce that we're creating or whatever, right? Like we used that to specifically and strategically increase the property value. And that was for like a worst case scenario, kind of minimum viable product play. And the reason for that is because if they ever wanted their money out, or if we ever, sold the property or whatever, we're all going to, hopefully make some money, and the investors will always get their money out, or for the most part, that's kind of how we want it to work out. And we specifically invested it in things that's going to be the easiest, fastest, cheapest route to generate income on the land. And that's something that, with residential real estate, yeah, sure, you could do long-term tenant, short-term tenant, But with rural land, you could do long-term tenants, you could do short-term tenants, that could be full-time tenants, that could be, Airbnbs, that could be camping on Hip Camp, that could be dozens of different types of farming, that could be events and retreats and workshops, that could be storage, that could you have way more options for income generators on rural land because you have so much property. So basically we used a cost benefit analysis, and we help people strategize what is the best thing to start with. What's the best time? What's the best thing to invest your time, resources, and capital resources into that's going to have a good return. And the goal of that is so that you can then use that money right off the bat to reinvest into the property. And then you have just a cash flow engine where you can just continually build out this grand vision of whatever it is that you want to do.
Oh, that sounds so 215 or so. Was it 215? Did you say?
Yeah.
Plus around 350. So now you're in at 565, and now it's already worth $1 million. How long did it take to do that about?
So we're going into year 3 right now. So it was the first year was a lot of Shelby and I doing pretty much most of the work. And again, looking back, that does not have to be the case. You can strategically partner with people and bring in modular dwellings to erect that are way faster. You could a strategy that we use if people don't really know how to build, because a lot of this stuff, remember, we didn't know a lot of this stuff when we started. We made tons of mistakes. We made hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of mistakes, and now that's what we're trying to help people avoid. But we really love bringing in experts. We really love working with experts. So bringing in people and hosting workshops, and then selling workshop tickets for that, which covers their cost of being able to teach us. So it's kind of like getting free learning from the best of the best. So we've done that quite a bit. That's kind of what got us through the first year. And then in year 2, then we had some on-site staff that were kind of a part of our community here, but also it was like a live work exchange. So they got to bring their tiny home and stay for free and then work a few days a week. So last year we probably had around, I don't know, maybe 5 people working in the property kind of thing. So still quite a small team. And this year we're going into it. And this is going to be our biggest year yet. So we'll have, including, full-time volunteers, we'll probably have about 10 to 12 full-time people instead of 5 part-time people. So we're about to make a huge dent in our plans this year.
That's really cool. We're in the same basic business. It's taking a resource and making it way better, land, right? And I want to share with such sincerity that us collaborating is going to be really beneficial, because we design using permaculture principles exactly what you're talking about, with all of these world-renowned experts in energy, experts in water, experts in food production. And when you have the permaculture design elements mixed into that, it's kind of what you're saying is it takes out a lot of the guesswork and it gets you the best yield on your time and energy invested.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like I really love what you guys are doing. I'm stoked to be here. I've followed you guys for a long time, actually, way before we had land and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited, and I couldn't agree more that I think, the pairing up of being able to, get really honed in. I mean, we go over a lot of different things in our program, but I would say what we kind of specialize in this area is the strategizing, particularly around time and money, and the financial and real estate strategies to get people into land, basically.
Yeah. Wow.
So are you able to refinance land projects the same way as you can with the residential?
Yeah, you totally could. Right now, I mean, our mortgage is tiny. If we wanted to refinance, we totally could.
Because you could refinance and pull that capital out without paying the capital gains or any of those things, right? And then reinvest that back into the property or pay back your investors or.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great way to pay. Yeah, a great way to pay back investors, great way to grow and reinvest in the land. You could do anything you want with it. You could, buy a second lot. I know for us, we want to have multiple lots in different political climates, to be honest, so that we can move around freely. So yeah, that could be a great option for that. So far, yeah, it's a tool. We haven't used it yet, although we are banking that up with our machinery. So we a lot of people rent machines and stuff. We finance and purchase all of our own equipment. So right now we probably, have somewhere close to $250,000-$300,000 worth of machinery. So that, and it tends to get paid off really quickly, and it kind of goes unnoticed because the property needs it. You're using it all the time. A couple of years goes by pretty quick, and all of a sudden you have all this equity banked in all of this equipment. And equipment is the easiest thing to refinance. You can refinance it in like 10 minutes instead of having to go through a whole bunch of paperwork and kind of horse shit with like the mortgage related stuff.
Yeah. And you create a cash flow, 30 grand a month during the summer, I'm guessing, summer season, like 5-6 months or something.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, pretty much that. About 6 months for us. We are in an alpine desert climate, so we picked a property that's pretty tough to do it in. But we kind of did that on purpose because A, we like a challenge, and B, a big part of what we're doing is to inspire people. And if we can do it on a really difficult property, it shows people that it can be done a lot easier in other places. So yeah, like the snow still hasn't melted, when it has everywhere else around us. So we are, we're on top of a mountain, quite literally. Wow. So yeah, for us, our season is short. It's good. It's about 6 months.
Yeah. And the cash flow, is it rentals, tenting? How do you do that?
So for our first years, it was really around, short-term rentals and retreats. So that's what we started with. And, everybody's different. Some people might want to just straight up be farmers, and some people might just want to host educational workshops or whatever it might be. But we really we try to educate people as to all of the options that they have, all of the pros and cons of each, and then run it through a cost benefit analysis to see, okay, for example, a traditional farm. If you want to start a farm, it might cost you $1 million and take you 2 years to install all that infrastructure, only to bring in maybe $200,000-$300,000 a year, right? Yeah. Whereas if you do short-term rentals, you could put in $200,000-$300,000 in infrastructure and make that back in your first year. So, and you could do that in like we were doing $30,000 a month in about 7 months flat. And we have clients that are doing it a lot faster. So if you go in with the right strategy and you're prepared for it, you can, we have clients that have cash flowed their properties in 30 days flat. So there's, lots of opportunities. But for us, we chose the path of short-term rentals and retreats in year one. And then in year two, we kind of asked people like, hey, who's interested in learning about how we did this? And we left the website up, the webpage up overnight. We woke up and we were way overbooked, and we had to open up new dates to fit everybody in and stuff. And that's kind of how the educational side of our stuff started. So then we kind of added the educational workshops to that mix, and then kind of continued from there.
And have you digitized most of the content now, or are you still doing everything kind of hands-on?
No, it's pretty much all digitized. So yeah, the majority of our education, we've pretty much gone full education route at this point. Yeah. So we're at the point where we don't even really need to do any short-term rentals. We're actually just leaving them open. Like we have those, the 5 wall tents. We're bringing in 6 more full-time staff and volunteer housing units this year. So we'll have 11 units for people, and we'll probably just leave them open. It's just nice to have for friends and family, come and go as you please kind of thing. Even for we do land tours. So anybody who gets our course, the normal way to get it is the online version. Yeah. They are welcome to come up for a land tour. So we have those spaces open for people. And then, just during workshops and stuff. So that's pretty much, where we're at this point in our journey. So yeah, everything, most of it's digital, but we do pride ourselves in offering the hands-on stuff too. So right now it's okay, we're kind of covering this knowledge gap where people, need to figure some of the, mindset and knowledge related stuff out so that they can move forward with this. But we still want to cover the skills gap, which is like, okay, how do you run the machines? How do you plant the trees? How do you, build the whatever, right? Like, so we do imagine coming out with more kind of crash course programs for real hands-on stuff for people to come for, a month or two and basically learn what you would learn in a Red Seal program.
Wow. That's beautiful, man. That's so valuable nowadays. There's so many people that want this exact type of thing. Yeah. So, and what about energy? So how do you get energy to your property?
We're fully solar. So yeah, we're like 14 kilometers away from the grid. So we're way up on top of a hill, nice. Like we're like forestry road kind of thing, like deep in there, plus through some government crown land to get to us and stuff. We have no address and we're up there. So yeah, we're all solar all the time. We have generator backups. We don't really need them, to be honest. Solar has actually sufficed for our needs. And we've been very happy with it, despite a lot of people telling us that it wasn't going to work very well, which is really sweet. Like, we got a pretty small setup and, we're powering like one commercial fridge, 2 residential fridges. We have the commercial kitchen going, charging all our tools, all our lights, machine, like everything that we're using.
Wow. Are you on a south facing hill?
So yeah, we got 160 acres and I would say about 120 acres is relatively south facing.
Nice. That's perfect.
Yeah, the hills change and stuff. It's very crazy topography. So like using permaculture methods and like laying out our zones in it has been interesting. But we'll probably end up with multiple zone zeros and whatnot to get around some of that. It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
There's about so we're twice the elevation of the closest town, Rock Creek, which is about just over 2,000 feet, I believe. And we're at like 4,500 feet. And there's about a 600-foot elevation gap just on our property alone.
Oh, wow. Oh yeah. Yep. That's cool. Wow. I had a property in Costa Rica, and it had about a 1,600-foot elevation gap from the bottom to the top.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really neat. It was the same thing. It was just epic with waterfalls and all that. Do you have water? You said you have wells, but is there any water running on the property?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we had a well that was like hand dug by one of like probably 3 owners back. And when we bought the property, this is just a funny thing. When we bought the property, the real estate agent didn't know anything about it. Which was interesting because people generally go and look for land and they expect that their agent will like be able to tell them things, but that's just not the case. They don't really know anything about it. So we hiked it for 3 days straight. Wow. And I've hiked it so many times. There's still things I come across that I never knew about. And we were about a year in. It was during COVID. Logistics were totally messed up. So the pipe for our well to get drilled took like an extra 6 months. So we were sitting there thinking we're about to run out of water and we're going to have to like order a water truck and buy tanks, all this stuff. And one day I'm walking through the bush and I see this little ditch and it's covered up by leaves. So I just see this tiny imprint, like an inch deep. And I'm like, that looks too square to be natural. Wow. Like someone dug that with a shovel underneath those leaves or something. And I followed it and we found this natural well that someone had dug like, many decades ago. Wow. And they used like railway ties for the whole well and stuff. And their bucket that they used to like get the water out was still there. And it was very, very cool. Wow. So we used that for all of our first year almost until our well was actually drilled. And that came from a natural spring. So we have 2 natural seasonal springs on our property, and they used to be seasonal when but over the years we've kind of seen them dry up a bit so like they haven't actually been running. So our goal, this is kind of one of the most exciting parts of our project, is that you guys know of like Sepp Holzer's work and stuff, right? So we plan on basically doing something of the same nature. So we are planning about 20 plus large ponds to hold over about 200 million liters of water. And we're hoping to replenish and repressurize our aquifer to once again have running water on the property.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with Dr. Maria and her group. I'm hopefully going to be meeting Sepp this summer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to his place?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
I don't
so
think
cool.
he
My brother and I
traveled.
have been talking about it. We'd really love to get out there. Does he still do tours and stuff?
I don't know. I know he's getting up there in age, and I don't know. She knows him. I've never spoken to him or exchanged words or anything, but what an honor would it be to meet him. He's a
Yeah, absolutely.
badass.
That's such an amazing story. I've watched
Yeah.
all this stuff on YouTube and everything. I would really love to check that out.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff, man. So,
Go ahead, Jim.
Matthew, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, so now that you've been doing this with your brother, tied in family business, that's fantastic. But what do you think you two have learned most about this experience so far and acquiring, developing this raw land, something neither of you had done in the past?
What have we learned the most? That Mother Nature will kick your ass if you aren't like strategized correctly, I would say. I think some of our biggest kind of mistakes, I suppose, or I don't really like calling them mistakes, but what we would have done, better, always kind of relate to Mother Nature, really just being unforgiving in a lot of ways. So, we showed up thinking, hey, we're gonna tow our machines up, and this was right before winter hit. So like, the road up is quite steep, and it's all fine, it's all great. The truck starts going up there, it's halfway there, starts snowing, and then it starts raining. So by the time the truck gets up there, there's 4 inches of ice all the way up our road.
Oh,
We
my
almost
gosh.
dumped $150,000 worth of equipment, excavator, skid steer, the whole truck towing it over a cliff, essentially coming up the road. Like
Oh,
it was rough. Like we have full videos of it almost going over, and
Oh.
Shelby climbed in the excavator, first time he's ever ran it, and climbed it off the edge of the trailer that was teetering over the edge, and then used the excavator to pull the trailer back onto the road. And it was crazy. And then by the time we get up to our
Oh, my
driveway,
God.
the machinery that we chose was too small to even plow our driveway. So we spent all winter and we bought new machinery. We did all this stuff. We spent $100,000 before we even got up our own driveway. Like we never even set foot on the property, and we spent $100K just trying to get there in the winter. So it was
Wow.
that's just one example, but there's many. So yeah, it's been Mother Nature every time. We've learned some good lessons in consolidation, utilizing permaculture design to consolidate your zones and your resources. Also around the business and financial side of it, like a lot of people think maybe someone wants to do some Airbnbs or something like that. And people think that everybody needs amenities. Everybody needs a toilet. Everybody needs a shower. Everybody needs a, spa. They don't. They just, people will, as long as you can post some photos and they have access to it, there's no sense in in spending all that extra money and time to build individual things, because people are happy to share, and it's a part of the kind of communal experience, and it's a better allocation of resources.
Yeah.
A big other thing is like wow factor. How to attract people, and how the different kind of economic engines integrate with one another. So for us, we have people that drive 6 hours from Vancouver to come up to our property just to stay for 1 or 2 nights. And that's a long drive just to come to stay for 1 or 2 nights. And they do that because of the wow factor that we present. So, that a big part of it is the hydrotherapy spa, having the sauna and stuff up there. So instead of investing in like nicer dwelling units, I would encourage people to invest in wow factor that will attract people to come. I would rather have a sauna with campsites than have just geodomes with no sauna, for example.
Yeah, good point.
Great. I was just talking with Tim James yesterday about that exact thing. That's so amazing. Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
And just
the
like
money that people spend on the spa, for example. So around here, we have a place called Le Nordique Spa. And this thing started off just as like the 3 Scandinavian baths and a sauna. And you could buy a day pass, was $40, I believe, to use the 3 baths and the sauna as much as you want. And in time, as it got more people aware of it, it's now built into this massive, gorgeous spa retreat in nature. And this thing has lineups all the time. and it's like $150 a person for the baths now, with all these other add-ons, or maybe it's 120-ish plus all these add-ons. This thing is cranking out. I would guess it's probably doing $50,000 to $100,000 a day in people attending the spa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it makes sense that putting in that wow factor stuff, the sauna, the cold plunge, the maybe you got the ponds that can be kept clean to utilize for swimming and all those things, giving someone that experience and then letting them camp by a fire, they'll pay a premium to do that because of that wow factor. So yeah, great call there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a model that works really well. I think it's a huge thing that's kind of like flooding over all of North America right now, the whole like sauna culture. It's big. Like I have friends that I have friends that owns one that I'm just, I made friends by showing up and being at a sauna. Same thing, 40 bucks, 2-hour session. And now, now they're much bigger. I've seen people do them in their backyards, even in suburban locations, and they just crush it. They do like 60 grand a month off of just this sauna in their backyard.
Wow.
And the coolest thing I think is that, you can kind of do it anywhere. It can be expensive to set up, but one of the things that we kind of recommend for that is potential joint ventures. Like you could go to a sauna building company and say, hey, how about you provide the sauna up front? And instead of paying you 20 grand for the sauna, I'll pay you 40, but I'll do that by paying you 5 or 10% of revenue or something like that, so that you can offset all of your upfront costs.
Dude, what a good idea. I want to get a sauna right here and be renting it out for a couple hours at, an hour at a time, $50 or whatever it is. And
and it's also like I've met some of the coolest. I've met like some of my deepest friends and dearest friends in a sauna. Like I'll go to a hydrotherapy setup, and I don't know what it is about it. I still can't pinpoint it, but like something about the hydrotherapy. Maybe it's that people are doing things that are uncomfortable, right? With the cold plunges and stuff. Like it's a certain type of person that will show up to do hydrotherapy and find the health benefits in it and all of that. And I was sitting in one, and I don't really talk a whole lot, so I'm just sitting there minding my own. And then this other couple kind of starts talking to me and asking questions, and we just start like everything we're talking about, we start relating with right off the bat. We're talking about regenerative farming. We're talking about going to the spring to get our drinking water because we don't want to drink tap water. We're talking about like all these things just lined up, and they end up inviting us to their wedding, which was 48 hours later. And now we're like really close. They're one of our closest friends. So
that's so
like
cool.
very, very cool.
Wow.
It creates that like community that a lot of people are lacking.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm going to make some adjustments to our design. That sauna piece, after you and Tim James back to back, day after day, are talking about this, and it's been on my mind anyway, but now it's front and center.
Beautiful.
So cool,
yeah, you should do it. Totally.
Yeah.
Well, and you think of the healing benefits that come with it, Jim, right? The sauna is profound, and there's obviously different types of saunas now. So you can do the steam and that one, and then also add in the infrared.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. A couple things, the different benefits that come with each of them.
Yeah.
And then the cold plunging, well, we all know again the value of that. So you stack those three things together in a location, and all of a sudden, what's a $200 or $250 a night stay becomes $300 or $350 a night stay because of all the additional things that are stacked in there, and people will pay it all day.
Yeah, absolutely. We're starting to bolt on different pieces of tech and stuff that people are interested in, like red light therapy, like PEMF mats, or like scalar technology similar to PEMF and things of that sort. So I got a friend that's working in like quantum energy related healing technology. So yeah, we're pulling in a bunch of that stuff as like these kind of add-ons for people. But yeah, it really doesn't have to be complicated. It can just be like simple sauna and an animal stock tank with some water in it, and you're good to go.
That's fantastic. Wow. It's exactly what we're already doing as well. We're adding in all these healing technologies. We're partnering with Susan Sweeten and Dr. Kendra and their whole group, and we're bringing them all in to the Freedom Farm Academy. And there's so many stacks of benefits to that. So I love what you're doing. We're basically doing the same thing. We just collaborate,
definitely seems like it.
Yeah, there's lots of similarities, and things that I kind of saw right away was how many people come to us asking about, can you help me find land? Can you help me find land and then build it out, and those kind of things. And when I saw what Jaymie and Shelby were doing, that was really one of the first things that led me to think, here's a great potential collaborative partner, because it's not something we've built out. Not to say we couldn't, but it's like, if we don't need to, and we've got a great partner that can fulfill on some of that stuff, why don't we go keep doing what we're already excelling at and continue to make that better, and then leverage someone who's in line with us, but has a different offering that our audience can also benefit from and receive value from. I think it made good logical sense. So it's awesome that we've been able to kind of come full circle. As I mentioned, I had reached out to you guys, hadn't heard anything, then eventually ended up getting connected to Shelby, and him and I have exchanged multiple text messages, talked on the phone, done meetings. So got something going on there. And then Tom reached out, and I guess Tom was speaking with another person on our team, which led us to where we're at today. So it's really seems synchronicity is working in our favor again.
Yeah, it seems like it for sure. Yeah, I think I basically, when we started, I kind of I don't know, like I call myself like a hippie at heart. Like I'm pretty, like I want nothing more than to just, live in the bush with my family and my animals and just chill the fuck out and ignore the rest of the world. But for some reason throughout my career, I've kind of been pulled in the direction of business and things like that. And it was always in like a roundabout way. It was always like, I need to work this job or start this business to make enough money to pay for the life I really want. It was always beating around the bush. And it wasn't until eventually, obviously, we went straight for what I actually wanted instead of beating around the bush, that it happened, and we got there a lot faster. And, when you set that intention, I believe with the universe, it tends to help you out. But yeah, it's interesting because all that experience that I kind of gained during that time in the business, real estate, financial side of things, and just, strategy, I feel like it's really an awesome thing to kind of bolt on to, what you guys are doing. I think that in the overall industry, there's so many people interested in growing their own food and homesteading and being self-sufficient, but I think sometimes there can be a poor relationship with money, almost, where people are like, fuck money, fuck the government, I don't want to have anything to do with that. So then they just kind of never pay attention to it. But just a few simple tools is able to get people into their own properties and able to utilize the skills that that you guys are teaching along the food growth side of things.
Yep. Oh man, it's perfect. Well, I love it. I'm looking forward. I'm glad we're collaborating and figuring out ways to stack functions and really cross-pollinate this whole thing. I guess, how can people find you, and there's craziness going on here. What can we do, or how can people find you? What would you like people to know about your services and your property so they can find you?
Yeah, for sure. So find us on any social media under Living the Off-Grid Dream. livingtheoffgriddream.com/home is where you can find more. There's a free video that we offer. It's like, 5 or 10 minutes or something. There's no salesy stuff. It's just straight up, here's our top 10 points of value that you can use on how we've done this. So if people are interested in that. And then we've got some offers on as well. If people are interested, we offer free gifts right now with our program. So the most popular is actually our business plan, financial projections, and pitch deck, all pre-filled out exactly the way we used it to get funded and get into land. So that comes all with instructions on how to edit it and everything, so that people can go pick that up.
That's great.
If they're interested. So yeah, that, and then I'm sure we'll be doing, more stuff together too. So people can stay in touch with you guys to get linked.
How much is that, that package that you just referred to?
So our whole course is $397.
$397,000? I mean, I'm kidding. But $397?
Yeah, we have people go through it and they come back to us and they're like, man, I would have paid $5,000 for this. Like,
No,
you guys should be
I mean,
selling it.
I really thought you were going to say 2,500 to $5,000.
So, I mean, here's my take on that. Two points on that. One, our mission here is really just to spread the information because I think people just need it. I'll also mention that we do payment plans and whatnot too, which is like no regular like other business folks would tell us not to do that, but we want people to have access to it. So you can get into it for like $77 on like a payment plan of like 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So we try to make it really easy for folks to get into. The other point of that is that we don't want to be on sales calls all the time because the point of the lifestyle we're creating is the freedom of time to be able to do what we want, right? And when it's a higher price, a lot of people want to jump on a sales call, and we just blatantly don't want to do that. We're also coming out with a lot more programs, and we'd like to be able to give away more for less. Really.
That's amazing. That price is the value that you're offering for people. It's a way for them to get in to design their future in an incredible way. And I can't say enough about that. Price is shocking, but it's the value, because that's why it's so shocking. The next level that I'd like to offer is the permaculture design and the Freedom Farm Academy level, because that stacks a bunch more functions, more eyes, more everything. So we can keep talking about that as we grow.
Yeah, for sure. We'd love to. I think we could do, a really cool like combo deal or something with our programs. I know that our audience would really like it. Our programs definitely like focused on the strategic side, and like you mentioned, like planning your future and getting into land and cash flowing it and all of that stuff. That's what we specialize in. So I think that our audience would really appreciate what you guys specialize in as well. I think it would go perfectly hand in hand.
Awesome. Wow. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, my friend. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. If you're ever in Florida, opposite side of the continent, but we'd love to hang out and show you around. And I'd love to come see your place sometime.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, I mean, we do in-person workshops and stuff as well. So if you guys ever feel like that, we got our dates on our website. So if you guys ever want to come by for that, we'd be really happy to have you. I'm sure everybody would be stoked.
The other cool thing would be you guys going to Gult's and teaching one of your workshops there.
Yeah, for sure.
We help fill it up. You help teach. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been. I think this might be the year that we start doing that. We've had requests a lot to do that, and I think we got to do a US tour where we go around and teach some workshops around the US as well.
Super.
I think we've got 9 locations you could already go to.
Yeah, that would be really epic. We're looking to expand as well. Our kind of grand vision, like I mentioned, was to do a lot of like the hands-on stuff and build essentially similar to like an off-grid university campus of sorts, where people would actually come in person and do that. And we'd like to expand that across our goal is 3 countries, Canada, US, and then somewhere tropical.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome, my friend. Well, keep up the good work. Let's continue the conversation, see how we can add value to the world, to each other, to ourselves and our families.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for everything you guys do.
Awesome, buddy.
Yeah, Jaymie, thanks so much for joining the show today. It was great to have you on here, and keep kicking ass, man. Inspiring other people to take this on for themselves.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
You guys are able to hop off. I'll just play a quick couple ads and away we go.
Sweet.
Take care. All right. We hope everybody really enjoyed that one, and that you're now seeing yourself living the off-grid dream. You can go to that website, livingtheoffgriddream.com, and learn more about what they're offering. And we're working on potentially having a coupon code that we can share with you as well. Maybe get an additional discount in there. But as of this moment, we do have something set up, but it's just simpler if you just go to their website for the time being and have a lot of fun while you're there working with Jaymie and Shelby. So I'll play a couple quick ads for everyone and send you on your way.
At Weston A. Price Foundation, we're dedicated to restoring nutrient-dense, farm-fresh foods to the human diet. We look to ancient food and health practices for clues on how to live our healthiest, most vibrant lives today. Join the mission and check out our exclusive membership details at westonaprice.org. As a member, you'll receive our quarterly journal on wise traditions in food, farming, and the healing arts, our annual shopping guide, monthly access to private Q&A sessions with experts, consultations on state laws, regulations, and policies, including food freedom legislation, and so much more. Weston A. Price Foundation. Let's return to wise, traditional foods.
Hey, Jim Gale Show listeners. Again, thank you for tuning in. We love having you here. We're so honored. And, I want to give you a little bit of exciting news. We've decided to offer complimentary food forest strategy sessions with a certified permaculture designer. These are 30-minute sessions where you get to sit down with someone who can really help you with a strategy for your own property. It's a great chance for you to ask some questions and learn and just really to dig into what's possible. This is 30 minutes with someone who's certified, knows all about permaculture and what's possible using this incredible science and working with nature. So head over to foodforestabundance.com and schedule your 30-minute food forest strategy session today. Again, that's foodforestabundance.com. And remember, get yourself registered for that 30-minute strategy session. And for doing so, we're going to give you All right. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. We had two great guests. Dr. Kevin G was first. And wow, what an episode that was. And just now with our man, Jaymie Friesen from Living the Off-Grid Dream. Fellow Canadian, living in British Columbia, bought 160 acres with his brother just about 3 years ago and has now built that into an incredibly successful business, inspiring other people to start their own journey towards that type of a life. So some fantastic stuff. Hope you got a lot of value from these two conversations, and we look forward to bringing you more great guests, more great content as always. And really hope to inspire you to take action on becoming more self-sufficient, more self-reliant, to start growing your own food, to, just really take ownership over your life, become more producers, more production. So again, thanks for joining us. I look forward to seeing you again real soon. And the show is officially over. Have a great day.